Today is going to be interesting. This is what we've learned in the webinars 1 through 3 so far. So if you haven't learned or watched this, webinars 1 through 3, we're on the 4th of this series. Brenda, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. So Millionaire Mindset, our goal is to present to sell and recruit, not present to sell or present to recruit. We go talk to the marketplace. We want to both sell, protect a family, and to expand our business. And you do that through recruiting. Number 2, a satisfied customer is your greatest asset because they churn your accounts, additional referrals. There's the R3 program that we use, which is talking to people we know, additional people that they know, companies that they know, or potential associates they may know. Recruit everyone that is right for the business, not everyone, period, because not everyone is right for the business. So we're looking for everyone that is a perfect fit for our business. Number 4, success is created by adding massive value to others. The more you add value, the more you've got your success taken care of. Leaders set the example by doing, not managing. I get calls that people are like, well, what do I say, or what can I say to my people so I can be a leader? And I'm like, you don't say anything. You just do the right things, show them the results, and they will follow you. So it's not what you're saying, it's what you're doing. Your success will create the leadership position that you're desiring, not by studying leadership words or what to say in this certain situation versus another one. Number 6, leaders lead, they don't push. Number 7, doing the numbers will always make you better and create momentum if you are consistent, which is key. Our number 1 thing for me to work with somebody is really consistency. That's the key factor I'm looking for when I work with people. If you're not consistent, you work on a Monday and you don't work until the next Monday, that's not going to work. That's not going to build the dream. You're not going to get a successful business giving it 1 day a week. So that's a real key thing we talked about. What do we do this month will pay us for next month. A lot of times people are doing something this month and thinking they're going to get these incredible results. You need to get a mentality that sets you understanding that the seeds you plant now aren't going to grow until next month or the following month sometimes. So you're always working 2 months out or 1 month out. Even though you're going to get sales and you're going to have presentations, that's good. That's immediate income. But really the big money, the big leadership, the consistent money, the destiny you're looking for is all built on a consistent understanding of sustainability and practices and habits on a monthly basis that produce, yes, for the month, but mainly for the future and building the wealth that you're looking for. The final one, we need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So these are the things we learned in the past 3 webinars. Just a quick review. Today we're going to talk about this. This pretty much surmises what a person needs to do to be successful. Talk less, say more, create value. If you just did those 3 things and you understood what you're doing, this particular webinar we're going to talk about how do you talk less? How do you say things that have greater impact with less words? Okay, and then so you're going to say more with less words. That means talk less and say more. But we're also going to talk about saying more, talking to more people. So there's 2 things, talking less and saying more, but also talking to more people. So we got 2 subject matters today. And in the talking less, saying more, you're going to create the value because you're very succinct, you're on point, you're benefiting the person, your audience, whether it's an enrollment or it's an individual you're talking to or you just met someone on the 3-foot rule. You're going to say things that have value to them because you're going to talk less and say more. And so get out your notepads. This is an interesting webinar because you are going to do all the work. I'm actually not going to tell you any answers. I'm going to direct you, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and we are going to have to do a lot of work afterwards so that we can talk less and say more and create value. So let's get started. The mindset behind the, let's see if you see my little guy. Yep. The mindset behind talking to more is you can't say the right thing to the wrong person or the wrong thing to the right person. Understand that you will not bat 100%. So you just need to keep swinging. So the key is when when I launched my business, and our mentor taught us, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. When someone was really negative or somebody was just really not a great experience to talk to, I remembered this particular saying from him. I can't say the right thing to the wrong person, so this must be the wrong person. So sometimes it's just the wrong person. Sometimes you haven't used the right words to have an impact. So we're going to have to figure that out by the end of this webinar, and you're going to have to work on that. So this is not just like the magic pill thing. This is a lot of work, and hopefully by the end of this you realize it's worth it. So when you're talking to somebody and you say the wrong thing, but they're the right person, somehow, even in the messed up words that you have because you have passion, they hear your heart through your messed up words, and they actually will say, wow, I want to know more about that. And you're like, what? This is my worst presentation, and the person says, I want this membership, I want to do this business, and you cannot even believe that just happened. So I'm sure some people have some examples of that where you thought you did the worst job ever, and the person completely saw it. And then there's times you think you did the best job ever, and nobody was interested. So you have both sides happening, and you have to understand the mindset to keep going on has to be you connecting to, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person or the wrong thing to the right person. Just keep swinging. All right? The mindset behind talking to more is that this is the one that really, really gets me. And I said last week, this is the one statement. Don't worry about the ones you can't sell. Worry about the ones you can't see. Because I was one of these people. I was one of these people that nobody came and saw. I was a small business owner that was being abused by landlords and contracts and different vendors, and all kinds of things were happening to me, and I hadn't heard the story. So it cost me tens of thousands of dollars because someone didn't come to me. I didn't get to hear the story professionally. I'm not talking about what do you do, and they'd say I do prepaid legal back then. And I go, what is that? And then they couldn't even explain it. And so they'd walk away, and I'd walk away, and I would go without the product because it didn't make sense to me, and it just sounded so ridiculous. So, but yet now that I know what it is, I know that I needed it. I needed it so bad, but no one came and told me the story. So don't worry about the ones you can't sell. They don't see it, drip on them, move forward. Worry about the ones you can't see. How can you get to them? How can you see them? How can you share with them? How can they hear the story? So this is really a movement, a mission that we all have. As far as look at these sad people, they're like, where are you? Where are you, and why aren't you coming to see me? So worry about the ones you can't see so we can really be motivated to get to them. And the ones that don't get it, next. Which brings us to this. In your mind's eye, see a line to infinity. Literally, this is what we were taught by our two mentors, Cheryl Cortese and Jeff Roberti. They both said this, and I just saw a video of Cheryl, our mentor, and she said this exact line again. And I thought to myself, you know what? I think we've changed this. Even though this is what we used to say when we first started, and this is what we were taught by our mentor, I'm going to change this. So instead of saying no, so let's say I present to somebody and they say no, and so I just think, okay, I don't care. They said no. I'm going to go to the next person. I'm going to go to the next person. I'm going to go to the next person. And then finally someone says yes. Of course, we do it a little bit more productively. And we're looking for exponential growth and maximization in every encounter that we have. So our philosophy is this. In your mind's eye, see a line to infinity. If they say no, R3, referrals to the power of 3. If they say no, referrals to the power of 3. So it's always every no turns into an R3. And then if it's a yes, let's go. Let's get them started. Let's get their family protected. Let's get their company, enrollment set up. Whatever you're doing, it's no. If it's a no, it's an R3. If it's a yes, it's a let's go. So see, but the main point of this slide is that you really are looking out there, past the person you're talking to either who they know, R3, or if they're a yes, then how to help them to get going. So there's the line to infinity. So these are about talking to more people. So say less to more people. So now we're going to talk about actually how do you have impact with your words, creating your impact commercial. When you go down the highway and you see a billboard has maybe 5 words, maybe just a graphic, a couple of words, 10 words, but it is not a story. It's an impact commercial. When you are in the Super Bowl and you have 30 seconds, sometimes 10 seconds, they somehow have to take their product line, put it into a 30-second commercial or a 15-second commercial or a billboard or a Valpak coupon, and somehow get you to look at that and say, I want to know more, I want to visit that restaurant, I want to get that product, and that's what an impact commercial is. Now, in our business, our impact commercial, our mouth. So when we meet someone, we're like a walking, talking billboard. And I want you to think about that. When you're driving down the highway and you look up there, why does that billboard have an impact or not have an impact on you? Sometimes it's just not a product that's a fit for you. That's okay. So think about what you can say. This is about talking less and saying more. That's what you have to understand when they have a billboard, because they don't have a lot of space. So Aristotle's persuasion formula says you should, when you're talking and presenting, 10% is about your credibility, 25% stats, data, and logic, but 65% is emotion. So here's the key. Your goal is to speak with your heart through your mouth. Think of it that way. Think if you can take your heart, what's in your heart about this company, about your opportunity, about what this product does for people. That's what's in your heart. The problem is what's in our heart isn't coming out our mouth with impact. So our goal is to take this, and by the end of the webinar, you'll see like some practices I'm going to give you about how to do this. How do you speak with your heart through your mouth? So this is our goal, to have an impact commercial. And what we're really going to do by practicing and practicing and doing this over and over until we get it right is learn to bring our heart out through our mouth. All right. Here's some examples just for fun, talking less with impact. Look at all these commercials. These are the top 10 commercials of all time. Okay, commercials that they use a few words to say a lot, that had an impact that you all can remember. Don't leave home without it. If I said don't leave home without it, you'd all go American Express. If just do it, you'd all know it's Nike. Where's the beef? That's Wendy's commercials. Okay, so these are things that advertisers said, how can we say what we are in fewer words? Look at the amount of words and characters that are on these huge top 10 ads of all time. So it doesn't mean you have to be talking in a paragraph form. Everybody says, every time you meet somebody that says, what do? You need to learn how to speak with, say less, but say more. Talk less, say more. All right, here's an example. This is a sliced bread came out, in the first 15 years, no one bought sliced bread. No one. It was an utter and complete failure. So what do? What's the problem? Well, they had to come out with sliced bread and the word wonder. They added the word wonder, like it was wonder, what a wonder, and it gives you all these benefits, and all of a sudden success took off. So when they just said put bread in a package and it was bread sliced, it did not sell. When they added the word wonder, because it was like, do I wonder about a sliced bread? Because people didn't buy sliced bread. It took off. So 15 years of utter failure changed by just bringing the word wonder and packaging packaging it different for the marketplace. So it's really not about what the ingredients were. It was a sliced bread, woo-hoo-hoo, or the features. It was how do you get your idea to spread? Another way to look at it is this. This is an example from me. I owned a fun spa chain, and I did Valpak coupons, and the first column says how many people got my Valpak coupon, and out of 10,000 people the first time I ran it with ingredients and features, my ad, and I got $500 back in profit. The second time I ran the same ad, $500. So far I've spent $5,000 and I've gotten $1,000 profit. So my sales rep comes in, and I'm going to cancel the Valpak saying it doesn't work. And she said, no, what's not working, Darcy, are your words. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, people don't want your ingredients or your features or what's important to you. You have to think about what's important to them. Because we are all so emotional. We love our Legal Shield products. We know all the details about our Legal Shield products. But the consumer out there that's passing you in that 3-foot rule, or you're having that 30-second conversation, they don't know what you know. So all the information I knew, I wanted to stick on a Valpak coupon and all this technical stuff. And to me, it was very important, and I thought it was what separated us, but I wasn't keeping it simple. I was kind of too much of the features versus the why would they ever come into my tanning spa? What is the benefit to them? And she said, people just want to look good, feel good. I go, you're out of kidding me. This is a European equipment, and it has this and this and this, and I go through all these details, right, of technical reasons our product was better than anybody else's. She goes, they don't really want to know that. They just want to look good, feel good. And I go, what? So I used her simple words of her philosophy of being a consumer that wasn't interested in my product. What could I say to at least get them to look at it or come through my doors? And when they came through my doors with the coupon, then we could tell them the rest of the story. So my goal wasn't to give them all this information. My goal was to get them to have a 15-minute presentation for us in Legal Shield. Maybe our goal is just to get them to say, I'd like to sit down and learn more about that. So in your encounter with them, you're not giving them all the features and ingredients and all the details. You're giving them enough information that they're inspired to say, this is intriguing enough that I want to make the next step, and that next step is to sit down with you for a 15-minute presentation. So understand, what are you doing when you're opening your mouth and your billboard, your live, vocal billboard comes out of your mouth? Are you trying to give them all the ingredients and the features, or are you really appealing to their interests so that they are desiring to know more? So make sure your strategy is right, because my strategy here was very wrong, and look at the difference in success because I changed some of the words. All right, so here's how you can do it. Think of Twitter. Twitter has 140 characters or less, or you can't send the Twitter out. You cannot even fit it in there. So explain your big idea, explain your passion in 140 characters or less. What does this mean? This means you are going to sit down and you're going to practice, and you're going to take a legal pad and you're going to write it out and scrunch it up and throw it in the garbage and write it again and again and again and again and again. You're going to be driving down the car. You're going to have a sticky note. You're going to write it on there. You're going to go in and practice your whatever you came up with, and you're going to see what happens, and you're going to come back to the car and change it again and change it again and work on it and work on it and work on it and work on it. Talk to other people. What do they say? What do you say when somebody says, what do you do? What is your greatest statement? What's your one-liner? What's your impact? We're going to go to Las Vegas. We're going to learn a lot of other very, very cool ways to talk about Legal Shield with really amazing words. Every time I go to a conference, I learn things about how the marketing that Legal Shield has, how I can take that marketing and speak it out of my billboard commercial that comes out of my mouth. So here's some ideas, though. What are you passionate about? What's the one thing I want the prospect to know? Why would they care to know about what I think I'm going to release out of my mouth? And how do you reach their heart as well as their mind? So that's what we're really trying to do in our little Twitter commercial that comes out of our mouth. So here's some examples. All right, here's Intel. The first key to your Twitter commercial is share how the product improves life. Now here's Intel, and this is what they said. The Intel technology called Turbo Boost enables the processor to run above its base operating frequency via dynamic control of the CPU's clock rate. Hello, anybody fall asleep with that one? So do you got it? No, you don't have it because it's way too complicated. It's not beneficial. It's not speaking layman's terms. It's way too technical, way too in their industry, so the average person doesn't even get what they just said. How about this? The Intel Turbo Boost takes note of what you're doing on your computer, adjusts the performance to give you a boost when you need it, scales back when you don't, which extends the battery on your notebook. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, now I get my application. I see how that would make my life better. So it improves the life for a customer. And that is how they changed and explained the Intel Turbo Boost product. How about Google? Google, the investors originally, when they went in, Google doesn't exist. It's not out there. It hasn't even started. Two young men go into an investor meeting with these words you see on the screen. It is in the history of all business presentations. This is the shortest business presentation with the most high impact words that made the biggest difference. And it was these two young men that went in and said, Google provides information in one click. And all the investors says, we're in. So literally, this is a true story. They went in with this statement. So that's what I'm talking about when I say impact. What can we say that has impact? Legal Shield provides access to the world's best attorneys with just one call. So maybe we can say it that way. So those are the kind of things we can work on. We can say what works for other companies. What can we say that's amazing? John, I hope you remember what you said in the car, so I don't have that note with me. But John's going to explain, share something. We were practicing these. What are impact statements that are really simple in layman's terms, so we're not talking technical out in the marketplace. So success is when impact meets simple. We have an impactful product, the Identity Shield, the Legal Shield product, unbelievably massive benefits. How do you say that with a Twitter response, with the words that Google use? How can you say what we are in a short talk less, say more? All right, here's another one. Help them imagine life with the service, like the Legal Shield service, or in this case, the product of Apple. This is the iPod. Stephen Jobs gets on stage and he says, it's a little device that holds 1,000 songs and goes right in your pocket. No technical, nothing. Now you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have all these CDs I've been carrying around in my car, and this is a little device that holds 1,000 songs and goes right in your pocket. That is genius. That is what impact words. That's saying, talking less and saying more. And an example of this product launch of the iPod, for instance, is one 20-minute product launch at Apple consumed 250 total hours for them to get it down to 20 minutes. So if you think, oh, this is ridiculous and I don't need to practice on this stuff, you are not understanding success, because successful people will do the practicing. The art of connecting and practicing. There's 3 P's to a good delivery. And this is from Amanda Palmer. She's a performance artist. She gave the most popular or the most talked about TED Talk in 2013. And she said, these are the 3 P's: passion, practice, and presence. So passion is learning how to take your heart and speak it out your mouth. That's your passion. Your practice is practice, 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 practice until you can get it down to the shortest delivery with the most impact words. Presence is your rate of talking. Let's say I have this right here, and I say, it's a little device that holds 1,000 songs and goes right in your pocket. And I talk like that. That's way too fast, my rate of talking. What if my volume is a little device that holds 1,000 songs and goes right in your pocket? So now my volume of the way I speak is really low, and I'm not making an impact. What if my pitch is wrong? What if my body language is not confident? So what if I'm not making eye contact? So you might have a great saying, but your whole presence is wrong. So you can take a title like this, a device that holds 1,000 songs and goes right in your pocket, with the wrong rate, with the wrong volume, with the wrong pitch, no eye contact, poor body language, and low confidence, and it will have no impact. So this is what presence is about, having presence, and that's coming from a position of strength, which is what John always talks about. So let's go over to one more example of tell me, show me, let me, grow me. Is Jerry Seinfeld had an interview in the New York Times. He worked 2 years on a joke about Pop-Tarts. So when you are a professional, and if you want to be a professional in Legal Shield, and you don't spend time working on your delivery, working on your answers to simple questions like what do you do, or explain this Identity Shield product. How do you explain it with a Twitter feed? How do you explain it in a short, like Intel took the complicated and made it simple, or Apple or Google. So that's what your goal is, to share your answer on, and we're going to also, what do you do? We're going to share your answer on Facebook. Let me show you that right now. We have something on ShieldNation right now. If you go to ShieldNation.com, how will you talk less? It's actually right here. This is what will be on ShieldNation. And how will you talk less and say more? What is your answer to what do you do? Share your impact statement here. And so this is on ShieldNation, and I want you to all look at the ideas and mastermind. Everyone on this webinar, you saw different things that you learned, and there's takeaways to get your Twitter commercial. Please go to ShieldNation by just going to ShieldNation.com. Go to the upper right-hand corner where the Facebook icon is. Open up the Facebook icon and go to this post, and let's all just start sharing until we can see impact statements. I want you to go to work. I want you to get your legal pad out. I want you to think of better ways that you can say what Legal Shield is so you can have impact. Practice it out in the marketplace, and if you get a good one, bring it back to the ShieldNation, go to this post and add it, and we'll review this next week. But let's turn it over for some interaction. Over to you, Brielle Hoffman, and you can discuss what we just talked about.
Can you hear me okay? Good morning, everyone. Wow, all I have to say is that was absolutely incredible. Sometimes I think we should charge hundreds of dollars for these webinars because they're just absolutely brilliant. I'm sitting over here taking just copious notes, as I guess many of you are. These are such incredible things that if we took and implemented in our business, I can only imagine the type of success that it all has. And so let's go out to those that are listening in. First, we'll start with Mr. John Hoffman. I'd love to hear what you have to say, but before we go over to him, I really would love to call on a lot of you out in the field, and if you don't raise your hand, I might just call on you, so get ready. But if you have a question, comment, or some feedback in regards to today's webinar, please raise your hand. We will be calling on you. So, Mr. John Hoffman, go ahead and take it away. What were your thoughts in regards to the webinar today?
Well, I'm like you, Brielle. I got, always, here's 3 pages of notes, and it's just the principles that we've lived by for so long, and for Darcy to continue to bring these things out to, the people who are listening in today, the great leaders out there, the simplicity of saying less to more people, the ability to, get examples of, what Darcy shared a minute ago, whether it's Got Milk, whether it's Nike, whether it's, any of the other little impact statements that come up. Think different, to be able to look at, how Steve Jobs was at one point, maybe what he thought, many thought, a terrible, terrible speaker, through practice and preparation by keeping things simple and saying less to more people, became, one of the greatest speakers and deliverers of products, goods, and services the world has ever seen. So just love the examples, love the opportunity to, take what Darcy spoke of and actually put it to work and go to ShieldNation and just see what kind of impact statements we can all come up with. So very powerful.
Awesome. Good stuff. Do you remember the impact statement that you shared earlier in the car?
Yeah, I don't remember all of it, but I mean, we were just kind of talking and how, it was similar to how doctors repair our ID Shield repairs, or how doctors restore lives, our Legal Shield or ID Shield restores lives. I mean, what a great comparison. A membership with life-changing benefits for pennies a day. Doctors repair lives, Legal Shield repairs lives. So it was just us kind of talking in the car, and those were a couple of things that popped up.
That's awesome. I think that speaks to the emotions part when we're talking about impact commercial, about the 10% credibility, 25% stats, and 65% emotions. I think the word just restore, I think, speaks to the emotional side of what our service does. That's awesome. What's up?
Hey, Brielle, real quick,
yes,
real quick for everybody listening in, this is just, documentation always beats conversation. I got a phone call from the vice president of marketing for a major insurance company up in Michigan, and the CEO of that company was his identity was breached, and he was part of the Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. This major broker is a managing agent for Blue Cross Blue Shield, and out of that whole data breach, he was affected. So, long story short, he got a call from the IRS that he had filed like 2 or 3 tax returns. So immediately, as a CEO or just as anybody in life, his life is turned upside down. He's freaking out. He's like, I don't have time for this. What do I do? And I'm like, well, all you got to do is pick up the phone. He's been maybe a member for, a couple of weeks. Pick up the phone, get a hold of Kroll through consultation, and let's see what happens next. So I get an email back, this saved my life. It just, like we said, doctors repair lives. Identity Shield repairs lives. His peace of mind immediately came back after the conversation, because guess whose hands it's in now? Kroll, and he's back to his duties as the CEO of a major corporation and continuing to do life on the weekend with his wife and kids. So good stuff. I wanted everybody to hear that.
That's a great story. I really appreciate those stories. I think that gives us that much more just confidence going into the field, knowing just the mission that we're on. It's a great reminder of it. As we kind of go out to people in the field, I'm about to start calling on people. There are some hands raised. Would love for you to share just what you learned from the webinar today, but also if you have any remarks in regards to the questions that are on the screen right now, feel free to share about that as well. Mr. Jim Riley, you have your hand raised. Are you out there, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. I had it up earlier because I was muted. I couldn't get off mute, so I'll take it down. It should be down now, right?
Do you have any comments, though, that you'd like to share on what you learned today?
I really think this is fantastic, the marketing approach. Many times I've seen it at networking events where people show up and throw up and talk about everything about their business and everything else, and really don't understand what's going on with the other person. One phrase, if I can add it now, what we do, I help people who worry about what will happen to their spouse and children in case tragedy strikes. So that's where.
Very good.
So that's what some thoughts. So it's great information. Thanks for sharing.
Awesome. I like how you said sometimes people show up and throw up. I'm having a hard time not cracking up over here because that's so true. How many of us have ever either been the person that shows up and throws up, or met the person that shows up and throws up? So let's not be those people. Let's go back out to the field. Mr. Marvin Worthy, are you out there?
Yes, I am. Brielle, how are you?
Great. How are you? Tell us your thoughts on the webinar.
Oh, fantastic. I agree with you. Boy, man, if we had to pay for this, it would be worth every penny of it. This was absolutely amazing this morning. And I'm just looking. I'm trying to jot down some things myself right now. Just amazing. I'm almost speechless about the fact that I haven't thought about this before, and spending some genuine time trying to come up with how to say less to more people, but have an impact, particularly as it relates to it being connected to the emotion of it. I think Darcy indicated it was 65% emotion, and people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And I think that emotion is a powerful message about how we need to deliver what we do.
That's awesome. That's so good. Very true. Thank you, Marv, for your comments. Mr. Gary Miller, you have your hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Brielle, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Doris, I got a question for you. You made the comment you can't say the right thing to the wrong person or the wrong thing to the right person. You may have covered this before. What do we consider a wrong person?
Can you hear me? Am I? Okay, that.
Are you there?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The wrong person is somebody who's negative, somebody who doesn't. Have you ever talked to somebody that? Let's see. That doesn't see. Let's see. I'll give you an example. In my Bible study, I had a lady that I talked to all the time for 2 years, and she said her and her husband didn't need the service. So I couldn't say the right thing because she was the wrong person. She just wasn't getting it. There was nothing about, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I was giving her all the ways that we use it. I was giving her testimonials. She knows me. She trusts me. She's in my Bible study. I mean, can you imagine? So I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I guess she's not the right person. But her husband, we had lunch with, and he says, what do you do? I give him a 30-minute answer, or 30-second, a 30-second answer.
Okay.
Immediately, he sees it. Like literally in 30 seconds, 2 years, my friend could not see it, could not see the benefit. And so either I am terrible at presenting or she wasn't the right person to get it. She just never got it. Now, her husband got it in 30 seconds. She didn't get it in 2 years. But now that they both have the service, they've had it for over, they saw us at a wedding the other day, and they were like, your service is the greatest service. And I'm like looking at my friend going, oh, my goodness. For 2 years, you were saying no, and you were blocking this product from your husband having it for his small business because she was literally, she wouldn't turn around and tell him, which is my job to go and speak to him directly. But that was an example of you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. She was the wrong person. But her husband saw it. That's the key, is finding the person immediately. You know how you've had the experience in 30 seconds, somebody gets it, and in 2 years they don't. So maybe it's the spouse, or maybe it's just next, or maybe it's the R3, referrals to the R3 and move on. This doesn't seem like it's right for you, but this is our mission, and 90% of the people that we show it to are very excited about it. Statistics show 60% of the people want it. So I'm really, can you help me? And I move right past that person. But hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Let me add to that real quick, Brielle. There's a great lesson in what Darcy just shared, excuse me, and that is, help set people up for realistic expectations, because I know of situations where someone like that actually can run people out of the business because a lot of people buy into the mindset of others when right around the corner is the yes. So prepare associates for people like this, and that's really what this whole webinar also speaks to, next, or that line to infinity, next, yes. So help people, with the proper expectations to know that there are negative people, dream stealers, or people that just simply don't see it. Real?
Yeah, and just to speak to that real quick, I feel like I remember there was a shift in my business when I was okay to move on when someone didn't get it. It was almost like, okay, it was unfortunate for them that they didn't get it, and I kind of always looked back at me and thought, you know what, could I have done my presentation differently or so on and so forth? But there was just a sense of like, a confidence booster when I just decided I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to get caught up in the people who don't get it, because they're out there everywhere. And most oftentimes people that don't get it initially get it eventually. And so it's just a matter of time. Mr. John Beltry in the Arizona market, you have your hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Brielle. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's really funny how things just kind of present themselves to you. First of all, phenomenal webinar. Thank you, John. Thank you, Darcy. Thank you, Brielle. Wonderful. My pen couldn't move fast enough taking notes today. And, this is so timely because we live in a hashtag world, and people just love, quick little lines that catch them. And I've been working on my sister's neighbor for several weeks on, trying to explain Legal Shield to him. And the other day, my sister asked me to come over and help her all over her backyard. And so when I got there, the neighbor wanted some lemons too. And so he came back with me and we were picking lemons. And he kept complaining he goes, it's kind of funny that I'm picking lemons because all life keeps doing is throwing lemons at me. And I said, wow. I said, that's pretty brutal. And a couple minutes later, he said, so tell me about this Legal Shield thing. What do you do? And I said, well, we take the lemons that life throws at you and we help you make lemonade. And he looked at me and he said, okay, I'm interested. Can you come over and sit down and talk to me? And it was just something that just flew off my tongue, and it was just really funny. But it was just one of those things where you're in the moment and you have something that kind of came up. So, I'm excited to sit down and really work on something good. But I like that one because it was just something that, hey, there were lemons in front of me. We were picking lemons. But, it's just one of those things that, it's those little quick snippets that are going to make someone stop. They'll get their attention. And we know if they'll give us attention for at least 15 minutes, we can let them know what they don't know. And usually with that, they're gonna buy in and they're gonna realize, wow, this is an amazing value proposition. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
That's so awesome, John. That is, wow, what a great story. Hey, and do me a favor, if you'll put that on the Facebook, that would be great. Post that story or that example on the Facebook on the post that we just posted. That would be great. And then Jim Riley, if you'll do the same thing, your little 60-second or 140-character blurb, that would be awesome. Would love for other people to learn from those. Well, let's keep going out to people in the field. Brenda Lafredo in Arizona, do you have some comments in regards to the webinar today?
Yes. Hi, Brielle. This is Jerry. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, Jerry. Yep, go ahead.
Oh, this was phenomenal and so timely, too, with all these new announcements, just getting them in front of people. But I have an experience just recently, and it has to do with people may not remember what you said, but they always remember how they felt when you said it. And, I've heard that many, many times, and it kind of goes with this example that I have, along with when you say you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, the wrong thing to the right person, timing may change as well. There may be events in that person's life that take him from being the wrong person to the right person, and that's the example that I have. I had been calling on this very large business for 5 years, off and on. And the CFO was the guy in charge, and up in the front end of my conversations with him, he just couldn't see the value in what we had, and for his employees. But I went in the last time to talk to him about it, and says, "Well, it looks like you picked the right time to come." And I said, "Well, what happened?" He says he's a CFO of a company, and he went in to do his to deliver his tax information to his CPA. There's a very high-end CPA that deals with people who make millions. And the CPA told him he had 20 clients who had returns submitted in their names, 20 clients out of his clientele. And he had fear right then. What if that happened to me? And then he began to think of his employees. So it looks like we're going to be rolling this out if all works well. And just because the timing changed for him, and he became one of the people who saw it. So with that, back to you, Brielle. Great job.
Great story. Wow. And you know what that speaks to, Jerry, that I think so many of us need to hear and are just to be reminded of? You were consistent in following through with that company over a 5-year period of time. I tell you what, sometimes I'm tempted to give up on people in 5 months, not let alone 5 years. And persistency really does pay off in this business. And I think that, I've just learned that over time it's just important to drift. And drifting doesn't always mean not selling them, but talking about the business more and, Legal Shield more. It means, how's your family? How's life? Thinking about you. I know there's a big coming up for the company. It's just staying top of mind over a long period of time, because we all believe that it may not be yes right now, but our hope is it'll be yes eventually. And our goal is that when there's a situation just like that we're the ones that are top of mind when the time is right. We're ready and able and willing to serve them when they're ready to be served. So awesome story. I'm going to go ahead and call on some of you, so get ready. So we should do like a drum roll or something. Mr. Glenn Spidell, he's here in the Knoxville market. We do a lot of work together. His background is 25 years in HR, and I just would love for you, Glenn, to share just kind of your thoughts in regards to the webinar.
Well, this webinar is right up the alley, that I need right now. And I particularly like the concept of creating a Twitter-friendly commercial. Those 4 questions. Why am I really passionate about Legal Shield? What's the one thing I want my prospect to know?
why would they care, and how can I reach their heart as well as their mind. So these are good points for me to ponder as I drive around starting today. There's a lot of errands to do. And so I really appreciate Darcy sharing those, and I think that's the big takeaway for me.
That's great. That is awesome. And I think, Glenn, this really speaks volumes to our enrollment right now. We're enrolling in a large hospital, and it's been Glenn and I have learned a lot. But I think what we've learned is that the more marketing you can do in the front end with the Twitter-friendly commercials, the more interest we're going to get. Because oftentimes we think, man, if we just tell all the employees everything we do, surely they'll see the value for the small monthly cost. But in a sense, it's quite the opposite is what I found. If they can get the emotional, the tie, if they can see the have you ever questions or the little teasers that speak to the emotions in their heart, then that is what gets them to come and see us, per se. And so this speaks volumes to how we can all see more success in the group market and the individual market and every market that we serve out there. Next up, I want to call on one of our executive directors, Mr. Willie Watson. Tell me your thoughts on the webinar today. Willie, are you out there?
Wow. Thank you. Good morning, fam. And, it's amazing when you take advantage of what's available to our organization. And I appreciate Ms. Hoffman and the Hoffman family for having this call. And some of my team members are like, Mr. Watson, how come you haven't told us about this call? And again, it starts with speed of the lead, speed of the pack. And so it's, 6:30 a.m. on the Pacific Coast time, but it's a sacrifice, and, how you grow when you're out of your comfort zone. So I just appreciate the information. What really resonated with me this morning is the belief level. It's your desire and your belief in what it is we do, and the impact is really from your heart. And so for me, it's just really looking in the mirror and saying, being involved with this business model for the last 16 years, I know that this opportunity, that this membership works. I used the membership yesterday. I had an identity theft situation occur where the postal inspector was looking to serve a subpoena for something that had happened that I wasn't aware of while I was a victim of identity theft. And just the way that I was feeling uncomfortable, being able to talk to the law firm gave me a level of comfort and peace of mind. And I just feel that message needs to resonate with the people that we're talking to through our hearts. And so I just appreciate just having that reminder of going back to the belief of what we do, what Legal Shield represents. So thank you, Darcy, just for this profound message. Back to you.
Awesome. Belief is so important. Matter of fact, that brings up just a recent meeting that I had with a chamber just about an hour and a half from Knoxville. And the CEO of the chamber, afterwards, you're kind of emailing back and forth that they want to potentially fringe the benefit for their employees. And he made a comment in the email. He goes, "You really believe in what you do, and I really respect that." And that was great for me to hear, because part of what I don't want to just be a salesperson that is there to educate people on our services. I want people to see, first of all, my belief in what I do, because I think that, I don't know, it gives them that much more buy-in, that I'm not just that typical salesperson out there that's just trying to sell a product and get a commission, per se. And that goes back to the mission marketer versus commission marketer. But I hope that you all are getting comments like that too. People are really seeing your belief in what we do and the mission behind our company. Miss Kathy Middleton, are you out there? Kathy, are you out there? Do you have any comments? Nope. Okay. If you do have any comments, feel free to jump on the call. Oh, are you there?
Well, I was on mute. Yeah, I just had to get myself off mute.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I do find that when I just talk from my heart, it is so much more effective than when I talk from the facts. It resonates with people, and you can really see that they're connecting, and it does make a huge, huge difference when we just be honest and genuine, not honest in telling the truth, but honestly genuine from your heart is what people resonate with. So thank you so much for putting this out in the webinar today. This is awesome, and I will be going back to listen to this again.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your comments and for your leadership. And, I encourage all of you. I think that, all of the webinars, all of our teams need to be on the webinars, obviously, but make sure all of you as leaders out there really, encourage your team to plug into this webinar, because I think that as our, worlds and our cultures begin to change over the next several years, especially with all the social media out there, it's more important than ever before that we really focus on our impact commercials in the marketplace. And I think this is so critical, especially for all of you that are in networking groups, so your BNIs and your chambers. When you have that 60-second commercial, how can you really maximize the potential of your 60-second commercial? Because we all know that we do a lot of different things. We do a lot in our company, but being able to really maximize, just different benefits within our services and really grab the emotions of, the people in the audience is critical. So I'm going to go back to Ms. Darcy Hoffman for a second, who's going to share with you all something that I think would be very beneficial. Thank you.
Okay. Just to give you an idea of what we do here, I thought I'd show you something. Here's an example. Brielle went to a 2,000 employee group, and she had a bunch of technical information and marketing. Would you have a banner or something? And it just says Legal Shield. Well, when it says Legal Shield, that doesn't mean anything to anybody, because it says the word legal, and then they think, okay, I don't have a legal problem. So I said, you can't do that. So we put this little flyer together, Life Happens, Shield It. All right, affordable, legal and identity theft. And then Brielle goes, wait a minute, Mom, when they read that, sometimes they don't think that they see the word legal. And I go, okay, so then it goes down to here. Now, as we move that out of the way, so life happens, yes, this is a person, this is what's happening to the employees' lives. Have you ever, and this is according to Lisa Schiller, who sold almost 10,000 membership, she said the have you ever is the number one thing that you need to use, because it's not technical, it's actually applicable. It's what they actually are experiencing. So we put this down, and if you answered yes to any of these questions, you will worry less and live more with this affordable benefit. And the whole objective of this was to get them to go to the website. Now they can learn about Legal Shield and find out the details. All right, and look at this, a free will for new members, valued at over $1,000. So what is the only thing I want someone to see when they're going to an employee benefit fair, which is ridiculous, because they're not interested. They see Legal Shield and they go, what's that? And then they go, I don't have a legal problem, and they walk right by you. So this is where an example of what we're working on. We're going to, here's another one, Life Happens, Shield It. Legal Shield members can talk to an attorney 24/7 anywhere in the U.S. if they are arrested or detained. So these will be coming out on Facebook, so we can share the benefit, the positive sign. Here's another one. Life Happens, Shield It. Okay, so they get denied for medical, Social Security insurance. That's happening to people. So how do we show what we do and what our benefit is? And here's an example of kind of like what we've been talking about. This is me, creating different things. Life Happens, Shield It. Identity Shield offers you. And then it's just kind of a simple, really little tiny part of what we do. But we're going to put all these on the marketing and retention system, so that literally the emails that go out will be this simple. So when you sign up on the marketing and retention system, you'll have an email. This is going to start next week, and you can get these emails sent out, and it'll just kind of say this and maybe a little bit of information on the email, so it's not overwhelming amounts of information. It's just kind of this subject, or little bitty breakdowns of the hundreds of things that we do. They'll be getting little simple breakdowns like this. These are different life events, and we're going to break it down into little ads for the marketing and retention. So I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like to take a complicated product like we have and just talk about the one area. And maybe this is the big thing that's mattering, but like what John said to the person about the lemons, that is absolutely phenomenal. We take the lemons that life throws at you and we help make lemonade. Perfect, exactly what we're talking about. Making it down home and regular, and it's not complicated. So anyways, I just wanted to show you a real live example of what we do and how we're working to get this these impact commercials, so simple and so relative and so applicable. Those are the two big words that you want to work on. So back to you, Trielle.
Incredible, incredible stuff. My mom and her brilliance, it blows me away. She's incredible. So is Dad as well. Real quick to speak to that, when it comes to us, obviously getting ready to, some of us will be going to California for the Performance Club trip, which will be a blast. Can't wait to see most of you there. And then, of course, we have Vegas coming up soon. And what we've really been kind of putting our just brains together to really think about how can we really maximize the potential of our time together in Vegas on Sunday morning for the ShieldNation breakout. So a lot of what you learned this morning will be kind of similar to what we'll learn that Sunday morning, except we'll be able to actually put it into practice with executive directors, with other associates in the field, and really be able to play off each other, learn from each other, and really, it's one thing for me to sit and learn, but it's a whole other thing for me to take what I learned and put it into practice. That's how I really learn. So that Sunday morning is a morning you do not want to miss. I highly encourage you to go ahead and get pre-registered. There is potential for us to sell out that breakout. That's our goal. So make sure that as you get emails that you're passing along to your team, that you're reserving your spot there. It'll be, obviously we'll have our worship service in the morning, 8 to 9, and then 9:30 to 1 o'clock will be the breakout. And details on location and all that will be coming out soon, but it will be at the MGM Grand in the Convention Center. So just be aware of that. And it'll be a round table type setting, which I love because it's going to be a lot of interaction as opposed to just sitting in seats being talked at. So anyway, just make sure you get registered for that. Mr. Hoffman, do you want to speak to that?
No, I think you did a good job. Again, when I believe this is probably the most important convention or conference I've been a part of in 23 years. In light of the branding, the initiatives, the marketing, the new products, the new pricing matrix, the compensation strategy, everything that's been introduced up until this point, and going forward, the new websites, what's coming out for all of us in respect to technology in Vegas. How do we take advantage of it? How do we implement it? How do we move into the next 90 days? With those announcements is critical, and that's what the Sunday breakout is all about. And I do believe we have the location. Everything should be on the ShieldNation site, the room, the location, but it will sell out just like this webinar fills up. So, take advantage of it first chance you get.
Awesome. Well, good stuff. Well, hey, just one more last reminder is make sure that you post your answer to this question, what do you do, based off of what you learned today on the ShieldNation Facebook. And I just kind of had an idea that I ran by my mom, so we don't have it finalized yet, but we may be selecting a winner. So if you like if you'll go ahead and post, and if you find a certain post that you just really think is brilliant, go ahead and like that. We might just select a winner, even though we're all winners, but do a little competition and select a winner, and that winner might receive some goodies. So go for it. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy time with your family, and most of all, let's finish this month strong. We will not be having a webinar next week because it's the last Friday of the month, so we'll look forward to reconnecting in June. But thank you all for being on the webinar. We love you all from the ShieldNation team and the leadership. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.